Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Starch Lady. It is June 22nd, if you can imagine. And I'm here with Karolyn up in Canada. She's working, so she's toting me around in her earbuds, I'm thinking. So we're going to jump right into it today, and hopefully some other people will join us. And if not, it's just Karolyn and I, and we get our one-on-one girl time. Yeah. So I'm excited. All right, sweetie. Tell me about your week. How's it been going for you?
Really good, actually. I get to sort of check my progress on Friday because I figured every 10 days is a good day to, weigh myself and see if something's changed. So, but I feel really good. So the not eating any gluten has been really great for me, I think.
I bet your tummy is a little bit flatter. Have you noticed?
Yeah, actually, I think I have. So
it'll make a huge difference when we're not carrying around a lot of extra impacted you-know-whats. And I always like to bring up the story of John Wayne. They say that he died with 60 pounds of impacted fecal matter in his colon. I just can't even imagine. Same thing with Elvis. Wow. He died in a bathroom also and was chronically constipated, but his was caused from drug abuse. I'm thinking John Wayne's was more of a dietary, carnivore type diet thing that was causing his problems. But good to know. Good to know. Gluten works the same. In fact, in the blood, in the microscopic blood, gluten and animal proteins show up almost identical. The negative polarity on the blood cells that causes the cells to stack together. Let's see if I've got a picture of it here. It causes the blood cells to stick together like this. That is excessive protein damage in the diet. The gluten can cause stuff like that too. And the crystals are very similar. Animal protein crystals are black, and gluten crystals are kind of a brownish color, almost black, but more brown. A little bit more yellow in it, I guess. But I found that very interesting when I first started this, and it just kind of re-summarized for me again how much gluten is not our friend, So, okay, so that's going good. Any new exciting recipes this week?
No, I've been just doing mostly potatoes lately, like for breakfast and everything. So just a lot of kind of like wedge fries and salad, or wedge fries and whatever leftover frozen vegetables I had.
Nice. I love the potatoes. I've been doing rice just because the guys left with the last of the potatoes, and because every dime we can find in the sofa cushions, that's a term we used to use as kids, what is going to gas. Gas is eating us alive on this coast to coast trip this time around. So I'm pretty much banished from going shopping. And I had a little bit of cash laying around on my birthday, and I went and bought me 5 little guinea hens. Are you familiar with guinea hens at all?
Nice. I have not.
No. They're not chickens, and of course they're going to be pets. They're not going to be food. He's not in today, right? And they are great at eating bugs. They're like the best bug eaters. They'll eat ticks. Like I read one article where they eat like 4,000 ticks or insects a day. So they can have all the bugs they want on my homestead here. So I'm excited about that. I'm hoping they'll eat ants. That would be a miracle. So they're growing so fast. I didn't know how old they were. And I'm thinking puppies, they got to be like, so old before they can leave their mom. No, not the case. This is a totally new thing for me. They were born on the 15th, 16th, and 17th. That's when my little 5 guys all hatched. I picked them up on the 18th. They were brand spanking new. In fact, one of them still had mucky stuff on it from hatching, and looked like it was wet like all the time until I had to wash it off. But they have grown. I got them on Saturday. Today is Wednesday, and they've almost doubled in size already. So they started out about this big, and now they're about this big. And they're just so funny to watch. They huddle together, and they need a little brood of their own to be able to be comfortable with each other. But unless you eat them less than 70 days old, the meat gets tough. So these are not a good eating bird unless they eat them young, which we're not going to do. And their eggs, I understand, are not the best texture or taste either. So a lot of people will scramble them up and feed them back to the animals that are, you know, around, like cats and different things that way. So I don't know what I'm going to do that way, because of course, you know, I'm not going to eat the meat or the eggs, but cats love that kind of thing, and that is definitely their food. And the birds are eating bugs and stuff, and I've heard it's not uncommon to scramble them, like at least the egg white, and give it back to them in their feed. So I'm going to do a little bit more research before I turn my birds into cannibals. I'm thinking it will be a little different if it's cooked, but I don't know. I mean, c'est la vie. I don't know what to do. So today I have a little short video about a little hack I did with my rice cooker. Do you have a rice cooker at home?
No, I've been using my Instant Pot for rice.
Okay. Okay. Let me show the video here just to give you an idea. I guess in the Instant Pot, because you can put other things in with it, you don't have the spillover and it's sealed, right?
I don't know. I
Is
got
that how
a
that works?
thing.
Yeah.
So
So
for 4 triplets left on one tray.
Sorry, other people talking.
So for
I don't
the,
know.
go ahead and
I
mute
think
yourself on that end, Karolyn. There we go. So for the viewers that are watching, I'm going to go ahead and show this little hack. If you don't have an Instant Pot like me and you want to dovetail, and I called it on the video, I said, if you want to be a little bit lazy like me. So let me just share that YouTube video for you right now. Optimize this. All right. And going over to here. We're going to go to YouTube. I always hate that I get the stuff all set up and then I have to redo it every time we get started. All right, here we go. So this is for the Mary Mini. Threw that in on top to see what would happen. Hi everybody, Starch Lady here. I tried something a little tricky today. Call it lazy if you like, I'll take it. But I was going to make rice in the Black & Decker rice cooker, and I found 4 potatoes still laying around. And so I threw them in on top, and a squash from the garden, threw that in on top to see what would happen. And I noticed a couple of very unique things. Number one, as I take this lid off, it's just finished, nice and hot. Ooh, that's toasty. Look at this. I poked it already, so I wanted to reopen it, but look how soft and perfect that potato is. Absolutely perfect. The squash, same thing, perfect. And the rice is fluffy wuffy. Now that was 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water, and I just put just a little bit of salt in there because rice without salt is weird, but nothing rolled over. I normally keep it on this plate because it overflows like almost every single time I do rice. It bubbles over the top. It started to come up, as you can see on the lid. It started to steam up just a little bit on the top there, but it didn't overflow. So I'm really excited about that. Now all I have to do is just scoop these little squashes out and the potatoes. I'm doing a rice mini right now, but I'm the only one here, and I had these 4 other potatoes. I thought I better cook them up so they'll be handy to carry in my purse if I need a snack or something later this week. Because at this stage, I don't want to eat them. I want to put them in the fridge and make them a resistant starch. So that's what I'm going to do, is put them in the fridge overnight, and then I'll have them for snacks later if I need them. And then I've got this lovely pot of rice that I can have for dinner, or I can use for breakfast with a little cinnamon berries on it or something like that. So I've really been impressed with the rice mini. I seem to eat less, I eat slower, have to chew more. And so all in all, I think it's a good deal. I've lost now, what, 12 to 13 pounds on the Mary's Mini this first month back on. A little bit more than that. I'll do the math and I'll tell you about it in class tomorrow. But anyways, it's between 13 and 14 pounds that I've lost for this month. All right, thanks so much for watching. Okay, quick and easy. but I thought that was kind of fun to just kind of throw it in there. It didn't mix with it. It just, oh my goodness, really? Hold on. Hold on. Shoot that. Okay. I always forget to turn it off before it goes to the next video. So who knows what's in the queue. So anyways, I want to talk a little bit today about calcium. We've talked about protein before, and you guys know, did we talk about protein recently? Do you remember, Carolyn?
Can't remember.
Let me do both. I want to do calcium and protein today. Go ahead and mute back again. I'm going to do another screen share. And I know we talked about we went through the list of produce and stuff the other day that provides like vitamin C and things like that, if you remember. And if I go over here to full presentation on the PowerPoint presentation, we talked about the different foods you can eat for vitamin C, the calcium and things like that in different foods, and greens is your number one go-to. But I want to go down to, yes, that was poop we passed a second ago. Sorry, folks. Let's see, find it. There we go. There is our protein list. Remember we talked about 100 calories of meat only has 20% usable protein in it. From the grass and seeds and stuff that the animals ate. Has nothing to do with the muscle mass that I'm chasing out of the blood as a profession. That's literally my job, is to get that leftover muscle mass that is useless out of your blood, out of your tissue, out of your organs, because it gets in there and then your body starts trying to remove it. And then they call it an autoimmune disease because your body's trying to remove foreign protein, and it's not recognized in the allopathic world, the regular medical world, that's the cause. So in getting enough protein, looking at that spinach, for example, it's 49% protein compared to 20%. And it's 100% usable because of the fiber, the chlorophyll, the vitamins, the nutrients that are in there. Don't know why I'm choking up today. Hold on. Okay. Broccoli. Huge amounts of fiber in broccoli, 47% protein, 47%. Again, we're comparing that to 20% in meat. And so, and again, that meat doesn't give you protein. It obtained it from the foods it ate. So skip the animal, go to the plants. Leafy green lettuce, 42%, alfalfa sprouts, 40, kale, 40. Sunflower seeds sprouted, the sprout part, 33%, lentils, 30%, green peas, 30%, zucchini, 26%, same as navy beans. So people say, I can't eat beans. I can't eat them. They don't agree with me. I hear that all the time. Well, there's navy beans at 26%, and so is zucchini. So what do you want to eat? A navy bean or a zucchini? You know, there's so many things you can do with a zucchini. Wheatgrass, 25%. Garbanzo beans. Live on hummus lately. Oh my gosh, I love hummus. My son was here and we did hummus a lot. So 25%. Pumpkin seeds, 20%. Garlic, who knew, 20%. Wheat, which I do not recommend. When I redo this slide at some point, I will remove wheat because I don't want anybody eating wheat, rye, or barley. So wheat, rye, or barley, none of that. Riley, that's my son's name. It's not a food. Riley, I'm sorry, you're not a food. Okay, although I could just squeeze you and kiss all over you. Okay, back to the chart. Sunflower seeds, 17%. Again, too high in fat for what we're doing, but for comparison. Tomatoes, 18% protein. Almonds, 15%. Again, too much fat right now. Avocados, 15%, too much fat. And look at that last one, lemons at 13% protein. Okay, cray. No worries about getting enough protein in this life. I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger with me here so that I can show you this book here. So I'm in the starch solution, and there's a whole section in here starting on page 105. And it's it's chapter 8, actually, starting on page 103. And it says, talks about the calcium that we get. And you remember how I read books, I take a red pen or blue pen and I just start go highlighting through. So I'm going to jump ahead and go to all my red highlights here. But it says, have you ever met someone suffering from calcium deficiency? In calcium, a key mineral found in copious quantities in the dairy industry's favorite product, without which our bones would fail to hold us upright. Okay, so a calcium deficiency would be somebody you can see that has like a bent over osteoporosis, things like that. There is caution. And I've seen this in the clinic where people have had conditions where they have been so concerned about getting enough calcium that not only are they eating dairy and yogurt and all that stuff, but they are supplementing big time. And I know of a couple of people who feel that that is the cause of death for their loved one because of their overconsumption of calcium, and it caused all these problems. So it says here, calcium comes from dirt, not cows. I like that. So it says, where does the cow get her calcium from? Does her body produce it? No, actually, she gets it from the soil. So skip the cow, go for the plant source, I circled here, which eat no animal or dairy foods whatsoever. If the giants of the animal kingdom can get all the calcium they need to support their massive bones with no help from milk beyond their own mother's milk during their infancy, wouldn't you think that plants would provide enough for us relatively small humans? In fact, they do. Excuse me. The certainly had no need or access to calcium supplements. Plant-based diets of starch, veggies, and fruits will always give you plenty of it. They recommend on a average, excuse me, it says that intake of 250 to 400 milligrams of calcium, that's just a quarter of the third of what the US recommended daily allowances of 1,000 to 1,300 milligrams. So osteoporosis has run rampant, and it says, yet it is virtually unknown among Bantu women. Bantu women's an African rural tribe that it's talking about here. And it says that their new Western diet, when they come to the US, includes large quantities of animal proteins, which come loaded with dietary acids, leaving these women with a deficiency. And then it says, when you eat relatively little calcium, or on the other hand, the intestinal tract extracts more of it from your food, while the kidneys work to conserve the calcium already in your body. The body is so efficiently utilizing these precious minerals that calcium deficiency due to a low calcium diet is essentially unknown in human beings, even in those billions of people who consume calcium from other sources other than plants. Rickets is a disease that you've heard associated with calcium deficiency. It says rickets is seen only in children, and nearly all cases result from the inadequate vitamin D from a lack of sun. And again, how do we get our vitamin D? We go outside with exposed face, eyes, and arms for 10 minutes a day before covering up or putting on sunscreen and things like that. It is exceedingly rare, it says, and is found only with extremely restricted diets. Even in these few cases, the exact role that very low calcium intake plays is unclear. In a review of 57 studies, it says, more than half of the studies, 57%, showed no significant benefit from dairy. 29% showed a benefit from consuming dairy, and 14% found that dairy products actually seem to harm the bones. Postmenopausal women who drank extra milk actually lost more bone than those who did not. Ooh, note to self. I love how he does the studies. He doesn't just talk the talk, he does the studies and he researches the studies. So this is a compilation of various studies, and some showed a benefit and some didn't. Now, what I'd like to look a little further into is who funded those studies, because if it was funded by the milk industry, the dairy industry, the cow industry, whatever you want to call it, that would be a little skewed. You know what I mean? So I think it was a little bit more beneficial to be able to study these and kind of make your own weighed out decision. As it turns out, the more calcium in the diet, the greater risk of hip fractures worldwide. Consuming dairy products may actually harm your bones. I wonder if that's because of the fat content that is consumed with the calcium. Just curiosity. So it talked here, this lady named Nettie Taylor that's in the book here says, when I came across Dr. McDougall, I decided to give his starch-based approach a try, stopping short of foregoing skim milk with my morning cereal. Meanwhile, my cholesterol hovered stubbornly around 200. It wasn't until I gave up the milk that my cholesterol levels dropped below 160. The McDougall diet was surprisingly easy to follow, in large part because I could eat as much as I wanted. A little over a year later, I weighed 146 pounds, 160 pounds below my peak. So she'd lost 160 pounds here. And again, what is losing weight on the McDougall program? It's a side effect. What's the main thing we're doing? Getting healthy. Okay. All right. So she was down. The greatest risk comes from foods that are high in protein and dietary acids. That is a huge thing. There's several charts in here and stuff like that. It says even milk labeled low fat or 2%, again by weight, gets nearly 1/3, 32% of its calories from fat. Cheese is the worst offender. Roughly 70% of the calories in cheese comes from fat. So it's, I am just so happy to have those potato and carrot cheese recipes and the cauliflower and red bell pepper cheese recipes that we use to make the mozzarella type cheese and stuff, because cheese was a huge thing, not just for me, but for probably 99.999% of all of my clients. And again, what does raw milk taste like compared to what processed milk tastes like when they've added the salt and different things to it? But the cheese is a concentrated, nothing but high fat, 70%. That's a lot. That's a lot. Intolerance of the milk, sugar, lactose causes the majority of people worldwide to become ill with stomach cramps, diarrhea, and gas, lactose intolerance. Plain and simple, dairy foods are not intended for or tolerated by children and adults, period. Nobody. If you're not a baby cow, it ain't your milk. If you're not a baby goat, it's not your milk. Okay. Calcium supplements interfere with iron absorption and cause constipation, and may cause even greater harm over the long term. Calcium supplements without added vitamin D are associated with the increased risk of heart attacks. Treatment of 1,000 people with calcium for 5 years would cause an additional 14 mitochondrial infarctions, mild heart attacks, 10 strokes, and 13 deaths, and prevent 26 fractures. Whoa, that's crazy. You're really skipping. This whole chapter is summarized down to these little red marks here, so bear with me for a second. Factory farms feed their sick and dying cows, called downer cows, to chickens and pigs. They also feed the floor sweepings from chicken and pigs down back to the cows. Recirculating infectious microbes. These practices affect nearly our entire U.S. milk supply. Holding tanks used to collect milk from herds of 500 or more cows are found to be infected 100% of the time with these viruses. Scientists have known about this hazard since the 1969, talking about Listeria, deadly E. coli, Salmonella, Staphylococcus. These diseases are shown. And I think I told the story before about, I get these jugs, I get these sterile plastic jugs, and I don't like plastic, but to transport our water at the store when, the pharmacy, when people come in to buy water, we give it to them in plastic and ask them to take it home and put it in glass jars because there's just not enough room at the pharmacy to store a bunch of glass jars. But my grandkids came to town and I wanted to show them Texas, and what do you see in Texas but cows? So we went to my favorite dairy farmer's location to show him the cows and the baby cows, and I thought it'd be kind of fun, It ended up not being fun. other than the fact that it probably made my grandkids vegans. They'll never touch dairy after that. Reason being is they saw that the baby cows were sequestered away from the moms and they were crying. Okay. And not sure, I venture to say that they were going to use those for veal because they're babies and they're pulled away from the moms so that the milk can be pulled, not for the babies, but pulled for the dairy. And this big, huge, like gas truck shows up, looks like a gas truck, but it's supposed to have a sterile container on it, which they're finding the Listeria and E. coli and Salmonella in, because they can't clean them all the way. Nobody's going to get in there and sanitize and scrub that whole thing with bleach and let it air out. And so it's going to just have these things in there. But in that herd of cows that are, quote, grass fed, as soon as he started shaking the can of the dry corn, they heard that noise and they all started coming towards the milking troughs where they were hooked up to these automatic milking machines. And there must have been a couple of cows that missed in the morning, because there was one cow there in particular, and she must have missed the morning milking because her udder was so engorged that it was bleeding. It literally was cracking and bleeding, and they still hooked her up to the milk supply. So that means that blood was getting into that. And then there was another cow that was laying on the ground, which was weird because everybody was having to walk around her, not normal. Like that book that I want to write, Eat Like a Cow, meaning in cycles of the moon and the earth's gravity and stuff like that. You'll see them walking all at the same time. You'll see them all laying down at the same time. You'll see them all pointing the same direction at the same time. I mean, they do everything as a group in the sync and same direction, time, and everything. And so here's all these cows coming in and getting the corn, and she's laying on the ground. And you look at her and her whole half of her face was completely like engorged, and pus was oozing out of her eye, snot was running on off her nose. I know this sounds really disgusting, but I'm trying to make a point. They didn't extract her from the group. They hooked her up to a machine and put that milk in with all the other milk. And it was all pumped from the cows straight into this holding tank that held like 2,500 gallons. And then that's put onto the truck when it comes by to pick it up. And just seeing those two cows and I don't know the condition, you know, I don't know if the condition is, you know, just those two cows or if some of the other cows were sick as well. I don't know. But that was enough to just really get my attention that there's some nasty stuff in that cow milk. And, you know, they talk about pasteurizing, where they would go to a factory now and then they would cook it, you know, and pasteurize it, I guess is what they call it. Is that going to kill off everything? I venture to say no. I don't know. I don't know what that statistic is, but it says factory farms feed their sick and dying cows, the downer cows and chicken and pigs, but they're also letting some of that get into the milk. And they've known about that. Those diseases have been known about since 1969 as a problem. So I thought that was interesting. The dairy industry remains unaccountable. It says healthy bones without ever drinking a glass of milk or taking a calcium supplement should make it obvious that we do not need any more calcium in our diets than what we're getting from plants. And so by getting it from plants, and if the milk is truly critical to building strong bones, why are humans the only species that continues to drink it after weaning and the only animal that drinks the milk of other species? If you are willing to stop eating just one group of foods, you will experience the most profound improvement in your health and experience by eliminating all dairy. I encourage you to send Elsie the cow out to pasture. First and foremost, you and your family will be much better off without her. So I thought that was interesting. So I just wanted to share that because people seem to be a little bit nervous that eating a whole food plant-based diet is going to make them deficient in something or another. So we've talked about protein today. We've talked about calcium today, and we are none the worse for not having those in our diet, especially when you look at those charts and you see the, you know, 47, 49, 47, all those different levels of calcium that we're going to get from, or protein that we're going to get from the greens and beans and things like that. I'm just astounded that the beans was the same as a zucchini, 26%. That just is going to stick with me forever right now. So I'm very excited to be able to share these kind of tips with you. Karolyn, do you have any questions for us today?
I don't know that I do. I was starting to think again about doing the rice milk thing, because I just got, well, I'm going to be shopping again soon. So if it really matters what kind, I will be buying some brown rice eventually, but I did get some basmati yesterday because it was free. So when I find things, I take it home. I found some
Nice.
free rice. So I was like,
love
I wonder if
basmati.
I can use it for that too.
Absolutely. And you're
Yeah.
just going to take, now I did change that recipe from the one, and I put it in the notes on the YouTube video. On the video, I showed using 1 cup of rice to make the 2 quarts of milk. And it was a little thin. It reminded me of like the powdered milk from when I was younger. So I did put it back in the blender, didn't change the vanilla or the cinnamon or anything I had in there. But I did put another scoop. So I basically figured out that it's 1 cup of cooked rice, brown or white, to 4 cups of water. So 1 cup of rice per quart or liter, however you're measuring it. Okay.
Okay.
So try that. I'm going to make some more today. I'm telling you what, girl, it lasted more than 2 weeks because it was so much like horchata. I was using it in a wine glass as a treat. I love it how Sharon in our group, she likes to drink her juice with her meals in a goblet, a stem glass, because she deserves it. I love it. And it just makes it just tastes better. It just makes you feel so much more special. But because I was using a wine glass and I've never drank wine a day in my life, the horchata lasted so much longer because I was using it for a treat. And so now that I'm doing the rice, I'm going to go make some more this morning, in fact, and then pour a little bit over top of my cooked rice with some cinnamon and berries that I'm going to have. So I don't think I'll have to buy milk much ever in the future. Like I said, I did not strain it. And what that did cause is to have what I would refer to as mud in the bottom of the container. So I give it a
Right.
light swirl and I'd pour the milk off, but there was some settlement in the bottom. So what I might do in the future, when I make it today, for example, I might strain the milk so it's, pure all the way down, and then take that pulp that's left, that strained portion, that thicker mud that comes off of it when you blend it. I might save that to use in like some sort of a rice pancake mix or something like that, because I've been really wanting some pancakes lately. And so I'm going to try and look on YouTube and see if I can find a recipe or in the book that shows you how to make rice pancakes or fritters or something like that I can do in the air fryer and use that pulp for that. So that's what I'm going to try today. So
I
anywho,
usually like to make smoothies. So I was thinking that might be a good replacement for any time I would normally put almond milk in there.
that would be a great idea. That would be a great idea.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to skip a step and you had leftover rice in the fridge, you could start your blender up for your smoothie and just throw the rice straight into the blender, and it would do the same thing because you've already added your fluid, your water in there for the smoothie through your scoop of rice. And it's kind of like when I was throwing, I called it breakfast in a cup, and I was throwing a scoop of oatmeal into my smoothie to make it last a bit longer and go a little bit further, be a little bit more satiating. So it'd work on that same concept. So I have not decided which one I love better, the brown rice or the white rice. They both have their advantages. There is definitely a unique flavor for both that I enjoy both of them. So I'm kind of alternating a little bit, brown, white, brown, white. And I also have some black. I've got some black forbidden rice I think I might cook up next because it's super chewy, almost like groats. It's that kind of chewy. So I think I might go in and make some of that right now since the rice cooker's clean in the dishwasher, and I can pop it back up and do something new. So, all right. Any other questions for me today or anything else you want to share?
No, I'm just kind of interested in seeing how things work out when I weigh myself Friday, because I don't know. I feel like, well, already from the first 10 days, I think I saw
Nice.
about a 2-pound difference or something like that.
Nice. I
So,
do know,
yeah.
I don't know if you, it's been a while since you've seen this yellow shirt, but I'm getting back down to where I can wear it. And it's one that used to be so tight that it would, like, you could see my belly button. And I don't know if I can get high enough, but it's loose enough to go up and over my pants. It's not lifting up. I literally could put a partial person in here with it. And so I haven't gotten on the scale this week. I was a little depressed earlier this week, and it's weird being by myself. I'm going on, let's see, yesterday was 2 weeks. Is that what it is? They left on the 6th. Yeah, yesterday was 2 weeks that the guys have been gone. And I don't know where the 2 weeks have gone personally. But it's weird being here by myself. And it has its advantages and disadvantages, but more disadvantages, I guess, because I'm used to being around people. And I'm really grateful, actually, that I have the cat in the house. And I'm really grateful that I've got these little baby chicks in the sunroom that I can go talk to and play with. Or it could be deafeningly silent in here. And I'm used to noise and talking and conversations and kids. And that's been weird. Empty nesting is not for me. And so I guess I have to fill my house and become the Doolittle homestead or something. I'm going to become a Dr. Doolittle. Who else would keep guinea hens in their sunroom? I mean, really. So anyways, they're in a bucket. They're messy. Oh my gosh, they poop a lot, but we just keep layering down paper towels and covering it up so they're not walking all over it. And then, every day or two, I take it all out and start over again, wearing gloves. But I just can't believe how fast they're growing. So exciting. I'll get out and do some more weeding tonight out in the front yard. I call it weeding, but what it is a lot of the mature trees that could be hundreds of years old. There's 318 mature trees out here, but they have little like saplings growing up underneath them, and they're all about 2 feet tall. So I want to pull those out so that they stay clean around the base. So when I mow, I'm not, throwing twigs up into my face or something. But I'll get that done this evening too for exercise. Been working out in the sunroom, talking to the birds and using the elliptical and the, in the gym, pulling and doing the muscle pulls and pushes like he was talking about in our guest speaker a couple weeks ago. So are you still doing your walking? Well, you do your walking at work. How many steps are you averaging about now? Have you noticed?
I haven't really checked lately on the steps, but yeah, I would say it's probably close to 10,000. But
good.
every morning I do some sort of strength training type of thing. So
Are you talking about like with free weights or something, or?
yeah, either
push-ups?
resistance band or weights.
Okay.
Depends on my mood the morning I'm doing it.
Yeah, I hear that. I'm gonna go get my stretchy bands out. That sounds a great idea. Something I could even do while I'm sitting here. I could do it underneath the table and do something that way, because I've got to get more movement. Again, not having anybody here, I've found myself working until unsightly hours of the night because I don't notice that it's the time. I need a clock in here. You see a clock in here? There's no clock. Unless I look at my computer specifically to find out what time it is. I stopped working the other day and I go, oh my gosh, I should probably, eat some dinner and watch a movie or something. And I looked at the clock, it was 10:30 at night. What the heck?
It's also not dark out, so that's part of the thing too.
It wasn't. It was
Yeah.
it doesn't even start to really get dark here until about 9:30 ish.
It stays light for much longer for us.
Yeah.
It could be 10:30, 11 and it's still bright out.
Yeah. It's like when we visited Alaska and they didn't their only time we visited in the winter time, and the only time they had sunlight was between like 11 a.m. and noon. And then it was dark again. And then it was really just dusk during that time. It's like, oh man, that would drive me crazy. But at the same time, just the opposite when it's all sun all the time. And I love the sun. I love being able to go out there and water the grass by hand and the garden and stuff. I don't really water the grass that much. There's too much. But I like to water the garden in the evening. And because then it stays soaked overnight and the plants seem to do much better and grow much better. Because if I water in the morning, sun comes out and evaporates that water. So it's like I wasted my time, you know? So. another little
I actually
garden.
got, when we had our yard sale back in May, my neighbor was selling tomato plants. So I got one from her because my seedlings didn't make it. And then after I bought that nice one from her, which is some sort of like tumbler cherry tomato type of thing. This lady that my husband was doing a project for gave me 3 more plants. And I'm not exactly sure what they're going to be, but I think they're like different colors, like not your typical tomato. I think some were like that sun sugar yellow ones. And there's one that's a little bit dark. And yeah, so I'm excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, that'll be nice. I have some, they're almost black tomatoes. I'd read an article about how beneficial dark foods are, like plums and, you know, purple carrots versus orange carrots, things like that. So I planted 2, what they call black pearl bell peppers plants. We're going to make bell peppers that are black or dark purple. Eggplant was on that list. Plums was on that list. And then I have a yellow tomato. And then I have those dark tomatoes that are almost black. They're more of a brown, I guess, by the time you get done. But it's been fun. The zucchini or the yellow squash has been coming up about every other day. I get to bring in 1 or 2 squashes that grows like crazy overnight. And kind of like my hens, how fast they're growing. But purslane, again, have you tried any purslane up there at all? That was the one that grows like a weed, but it's called purslane. It has more omega-3 fatty acids than fish.
No, I don't think I've heard of that actually.
Super, super easy to grow. I got 2 little teeny starters at the garden shop. And now I have this entire bucket and it's just like overflowing. So much so that I'm going to clean out a little flower bed in front of the house and put them there because I'd like to have them available for the hens to eat, but also to be able to have more of. I'd like to do a complete salad of it. I think I might go make some of that this afternoon as well. That sounds really good. So, but they're more moist. They're kind of, you've seen succulents, how they look like they have water in the leaves, you know? These, when you bite them, they're very moist. They're not dry like a piece of spinach. They're very moist. And the leaves are about this big, maybe a little bit smaller. And you just pull them off the stalk and throw them in your salad or your saute or whatever. And more omega fatty 3 acids than fish. Can't beat that. So easy to grow. It grows as a weed. A lot of people thought it was just a weed and it was only for the animals to eat. And but it's kind of like chia seeds. My son brought up the point. He says, is chia seeds like we make the pudding and stuff out of? Is that the same chia seeds they used to have chia pets back in the 70s and 80s? And it's like the very same. Back then we thought it was just an ornamental thing to grow as a plant, you know, with the little hair on the animals and stuff. And now it's like a superfood and we're putting it in everything.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, you have a wonderful day and I will check on Sam and Diane to see our weekly regulars didn't come in today. So I'll check and see if they're okay. But I know a lot of the people in the group, they like to watch this on playback because of their work schedules and stuff like that. And I appreciate you being here today. So, all right. Well, have a lovely week, the rest of your week.
You too.
All right. And I'm anxious to hear how it goes on Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Talk to you soon. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.